Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 1017th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. And what an epic and classic battle I've got for you today. And today you're going to hear me use a word that I've never used in any of our battle videos before, and that word is audacious. Okay, so just watch out for that, because as I say, I've never used that word before, but audacious is just the right word for what you're going to see in this battle. Okay, and first of all I want to show you this battle map here. I've hosted on this map several times, and I think if I remember correctly, we've only won twice, being team 1 here, but you'll see why as I show you the battle map here. If we go up through the woods here, you'll see to start off with, we'd have to attack up through the woods, but what I really wanted to show you here was the hill advantage that Team 2 has got. Just look at that massive hill advantage that they've got here. I'm just going to show you the steepness here of if we attack. Now if we attack, look, we've got to attack up this massively steep hill. Remember that steep hill gives the enemy team a massive downhill charge advantage. Their pilots go further and do more damage as well. And just imagine a chariot downhill charge from there. And as I say, just look how hilly this map is. Look how steep that is there. As I say, I've hosted on this map a couple of, quite a few times, but we've only won twice. So that's how much of a challenge this map is. Now I just wanted to show you how hilly it really is here. And as I say, later on in the battle you will see a really audacious tactical and strategic move, and I think you'll agree with that particular word. Right, okay, so our first teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now Fesen's got 12 infantry, 2 town watch and 6 cavalry. Okay, what I'd like to show you here is that Fesen has not got 1 eagle unit, he's not got 2 eagle units, but he's got 3 morale boosting eagle units, okay, plus his infantry general as well. So there's a heck of a lot of morale going on there for his infantry. I always say about bringing extra morale boosting units. There's a town watch, which he'll probably put in front of his main battle formation there as his pilot shield unit. But as I say, with all that morale there, that's pretty good for his infantry. Quick look at his cavalry, and he's got 7 upgrades on his cavalry and experience, stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's a pretty good army there. And what we needed for this map is a good solid army build, and I think that's just what that is. Our next teammate is someone who's called himself Chinny Poo, but is in fact Scorpion King SR. Now he's got 15 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 15 infantry and 5 cavalry, but he also has bought a morale boosting eagle unit. So well done the Scorpion King there. He's got his general and eagle unit morale boosters there, which is good. His cavalry are just gold shield, gold attack there. Okay, so as I say, for this particular battle on this particular map, we needed really solid army builds. Okay, our next teammate is Titan's Beast. A lot of you will know him, very good player. Now he's got an unusual Greek cities army. He's got 10 Spartans and 10 armoured hoplites. Okay, 10 Spartans, 10 armoured hoplites. Okay, and I think if I remember correctly, he splits his army into 2. Right, you'll notice here that his Spartans have got gold shield, gold attack on, so that's great upgrades. You get the most from them there. And his armoured hoplites there, I think if you notice, I think he's got just ordinary hoplites as well as armoured hoplites, but he's got gold shield, gold attack on them as well. Okay, so he's actually got 20 units in his Greek city army. 20 units there, 10 Spartans and 10 hoplites there. Okay, and our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander. He's got his very old Roman army of 14 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 14 infantry and 5 cavalry. So there's our team, and make no mistake here, this is going to be a real challenge for our team. And here is the other team. We've got an RTW player who's called himself Bill, but it is in fact a Greek clansman, Leonidas. Okay, so Bill is actually Greek clansman Leonidas, and he's bought the Seleucid faction. Now he's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, so Greek Leonidas here, who's called himself Bill, got the Seleucid faction, 14 infantry, 6 cavalry. If you look at the upgrades there, you'll see he's got 7 upgrades on his Silver Shield Legionnaires. That's an experience, stripe, gold shield, gold attack. and his cavalry there. I think you'll find that they've just got gold shield, gold attack. The majority of his cavalry have just got gold shield, gold attack on. I think one of his cavalry units, if I remember correctly, might have had 8. Yeah, one of his cavalry units got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So he's got mixed upgrades with his cavalry, but his 14 infantry are an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Spitfyr. Now Spitfyr has got 12 infantry, 2 light auxiliary, and 6 cavalry. Okay, interesting battle formation there. You'll notice that he's also got a morale boosting eagle unit as well as his general unit there. So he's got 2 morale boosting units there. As I say, interesting battle formation. He's got his light auxiliary kind of in a cross formation there as part of his pilot shield units there. To soak up enemy pilers, and his cavalry have got decent upgrades on, 7 upgrades and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So I think that's a pretty solid army there. And just look at the position he's taken there. I mean, right on the brow of the hill. Can you imagine us attacking up there? Imagine the distances that his pilers could travel in that downhill advantage that they get, and the damage that they could do. Oh my gosh. Their next teammate is RTW player Barclayman. Now Barclayman's got 15 pikes and 5 chariots. Okay, 15 pikes, 5 chariots. If I remember correctly, I think he's got staggered upgrades through his battle formation there. You'll see that those guys have got 7 upgrades, an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack, and that line of pikemen as well. But if you go further back in his battle formation, you'll see he's got 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So I say he got staggered upgrades through his battle formation there, and of course he's got the infamous chariots there with their 3 hit points. Excellent attacking specifications. Let's just hope they don't run amok and kill his allies' troops, because that could be a real problem for him there. But he's very good with the chariots. And I just want to show you here how steep it is, and we're going to go all the way over to their last teammate over their Carthage teammate here. But look at the terrain that we're going down. I mean, we're right down in a trough here, aren't we? It just goes to show how steep the hills are on this particular battlefield. A real challenge for Team 1. Okay, and then their teammate over here is Brotherhood member Royer. Okay, I think he's called himself something else. Yeah, he called himself John Kramer, but it is in fact Royer. And he's got 13 Sacred Band and 6 Cavalry, but he's got unusual upgrades. I just wanted to show you that. Can you see on his Sacred Band there, some of his Sacred Band have only got 5 upgrades on. I'm guessing maybe gold defense, silver attack there. But you'll see the majority of his Sacred Band have just got gold shield, gold attack on. Now I would suggest that would be unusual. Usually people put at least 1 stripe on their Sacred Band unit. So I don't know what all of you are thinking. Do you think just gold shield, gold attack on Sacred Band Spearman is unusual? Or do you think that would be a normal upgrade that you'd put on your troops? But that tells me that his cavalry, yes, are maximum upgraded. Can you see that? If you count the banners there, 9 upgrades, that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So he's got fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry there. So there's the enemy team. As I say, this is not going to, definitely going to be, it is an epic. Okay, at this stage of the battle, you'll see that we formed up in this position here. And just wanted to show you here that Beast has split his army into 2. He's got his A army of Spartans, of 10 Spartans, and his B army of hoplites there. Okay, so that's a tactical decision there to split his army. You'll see that Scorpion King is just arriving here. As I say, we're going to form up in this area here, and you'll see Fesen is moving over as well. Now, I don't think Fesen wants to run, because obviously he doesn't want his troops to be tired when he gets over here, so he'll probably walk his troops over. As we know, Scorpion King can be a very aggressive player here, and let's hope he doesn't attack uphill straight away, as we know that he may well do. You never know with Scorpion King. But here you'll see the Pontus general Barclayman there moving his troops up that very steep hill to form up with his allies on top of the hill there. So of course the enemy troops are not going to leave that position. Once again, look at the steepness of that hill and think of the charge, the downhill charge bonus that the enemy troops would have. And as we talked about earlier, their pilers go further and do more damage with the hill advantage that they've got. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. Just wanted you to imagine the downhill charge bonus that chariots would get. I mean, they get a big charge bonus anyway, but imagine that charging downhill into, say, Scorpion King's infantry. Imagine the damage that those chariots could do with the momentum of the downhill charge. So, as I say, Team 2 have got all the advantages here, and we've somehow got to try and overcome it. But, as I say, in the past, playing on this map, Team 1, most of the time, 95% of the time, we'll lose. And looking at the enemy disposition there, this will be a very tough battle. We're up against really good players as well. Okay, so what I wanted to show you here is, can you see that the enemy team have moved over to the right of the hill? Okay, leaving this particular part of the hill kind of unguarded, if you look there. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if I could move fast and get my infantry up onto that left side of the hill, you know, maybe we could get a bit of parity with the enemy troops on top of the hill instead of always fighting uphill. So you'll see here that what you'll see as I'm running now, I didn't say anything to my teammates. I just saw a possible advantage that we could get, and you'll see I'm running. Now, there's a lot of pikes and spear factions in this game, so you'll notice there will be a little bit of lag to start off with. I hope it doesn't spoil the game too much for you. Over here, as I say, this is where I'm looking to, if I could come up through the woods here and maybe just creep up onto the hill before the enemy troops will react. You know, as I say, I would then have parity with the enemy troops on top of the hill. But I'm guessing that they will probably move to block my my troop movement there. As I say, you can see my army now entering the woods. I think, if I remember correctly, Beast followed me with his army, and I think the Scorpion King did as well. There, you can see we're all moving up into the woods now. But that advantage that I spotted earlier, my guess is that the enemy troops will, the enemy team will spot where we're heading for and probably block that approach there. Remember, move in the woods. If the enemy tried a downhill attack, remember the trees really stop the momentum of an attack. And really reduces the charge bonus as well. Right, so here you can see Greek Leonidas moving his Seleucids over here to cover the their right-hand side of the hill there, to block the thoughts I was having about coming up round the flank. So they obviously saw that. You'll see that the Pontus pikes have arrived as well. They've just arrived up on top of the hill. There they are. So they're set up. Imagine trying to break through Pontus pikes fighting uphill. Oh my gosh. So you can see they're all ready to form up there. You can see the Carthage general. I think he'll be walking his troops as well, because he'll want them to be fresh when they get up on top of the hill. But there you can see that the enemy are definitely not going to move from the advantage, you know, the advantageous position that they're in. So obviously we're going to have to attack. And as you know, in RTW, veterans watching this, attacking uphill is a very, very difficult task. And as I say, I think about 95% of the times I've hosted on this map, Team 1, we just lose, because it's just so difficult to attack against good players uphill. And this could well be the same here. There you can see Greek Leonidas moving his Seleucids forward there. The reason he's done that is so he can get in piler range of Beast's Greek city units, so he can throw his pilers there. As we talked about before, downhill, he'd do a lot of damage. Here, do you think we might be able to move around the right of the hill? The right-hand side of the hill here, their right side, seems to be kind of possibly a weak spot that we may well be able to exploit there. I don't know what all of you are thinking there. You can see there that the Seleucid general is throwing pilers into Beast's units there. Let's pause the game for a second here. So there you are. You can see there that they're just in the process of throwing pilers into Beast's armoured hoplites there. Yeah, so as I say, the downhill advantage that the pilots have got, they travel further and do more damage. Of course, Greek Leonidas will know that, and that's why he wanted to get into range of the armoured hoplites there. As I say, you can see Beast here with his Spartan army, his A army, if you like, possibly thinking about coming around the flank, do you think, there? To me, looking at the enemy disposition, this right side of the hill does look possibly like a bit of a weak spot. I don't know what all of you are thinking, but it looks to me like they're probably going to cover that weak spot now. You can see the Seleucid general moving his units over a little bit more to the right there. Probably seeing Beast's a Spartan army there has made them move a little bit. You can see I'm moving my SBQR army over a little bit as well. But just look at the enemy disposition there. I mean, that is a really solid defense formation that they've got there. And you can see Scorpion King moving his cavalry over into the woods as well. He certainly wants to avoid that chariot unit that was kind of looking at his cavalry there, from what I could see. That's why he's moved his cavalry into the woods. Now you'll see that Fesen is just arriving on the scene now. Now what I'm a bit worried about here is the disposition of the enemy chariots. It looks to me like Barclayman has been waiting for Fesen's army to arrive, and he may well look to hit Fesen's army with his chariots. Now remember, I think he's got 5 chariots there, and he's very good with the chariots, so he may well be looking to hit Fesen's army, cause him some big casualties there. Right, over here you can see that the enemy now have moved over a little bit more to that side of the hill that looked a bit weak. So as I say, you can see me moving my purple SBQR army forward here, and you can see that as I say, that a Spartan army of beasts is just kind of waiting at the moment for its maybe for its chance to advance. You'll see here that Greek Leonidas is moving his Seleucid Silver Shield Legionnaires back a little bit there. Okay, so just a heads up on this. You know, I told you that I was going to use a word that I haven't used in any of our battles so far, audacious. Okay, so just let me give you a heads up that that word audacious is going to be used with this A Spartan army. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up on that. Keep an eye on this Spartan 10-man army there. Okay, a little bit later on in the battle, and you'll see exactly what I mean about audacious, tactical and strategic move. Okay, but here you'll see we're skirmishing a little bit here at this particular juncture of the battle there. There'll be pillars being thrown in there, and as I say, you can see that Beast has put his armoured hoplite or hoplite army there in front of my SBQR troops. But just look, you can see the steepness of the hill there, and you'll see that I'm moving my SBQR army forward a little bit there to be able to get into maybe piler range of the enemy troops. You'll see the Seleucid general has moved his Silver Shield Legionnaires over a little bit there, and you'll see that those skirmisher units there, those light auxiliary, are throwing their spears into Beast armoured hoplites. Okay, so there's a little bit of skirmishing going on here at this particular part of the battlefield, but it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there. Right, let's pause the game for a second. So as I say, there you can see the enemy really set up in a really solid defense there, and imagine us trying and punch a hole through that defense there, fighting uphill. I just don't think we would be able to do that. And you can see that the Carthaginians here of Royer are just arriving. They're warmed up, so he hasn't run them, he's just walked them there, so they'll be ready for combat as soon as they get on top of the hill there. But I mean, the enemy troops have got such a solid defense formation there that and you imagine the Carthage bracing that defensive position when the units get into place. I mean, how would you go about attacking this hill if you were our team? It's a very, very difficult, as you can see. You'll see that Scorpion King is moving his Red Julii army over here to our left flank. maybe with a view to try and stretch the defenders a little bit on top of the hill. Right, so here you can see that Fesen's infantry are here, but look at the positions of the chariots that Barclayman has set out here. And I mean, it looks to me like Fesen's walking right into a chariot trap there, with the downhill bonuses they'll be getting as well. So I just hope Fesen's ready for that chariot attack. Now remember, a great defense for Rome against chariot attacks is Testudo. Okay, but you need to go into Testudo quite fast. You can see that chariot going in to Fesen's infantry now with a downhill charge bonus, and bang, as he smashes in there. But notice that Fesen is now putting his units into Testudo. Okay, and can you see that Barclayman has now called off his other two chariots there? Those other two chariots are going to attack, but he can see that Fesen's putting his units into Testudo. Okay, and he knows that his chariots won't do much damage and will probably be routed by the Roman units into Testudo, so he's pulled those two chariots back. He's still leaving that one in there, trying to do as much damage as he can with that one chariot unit. He might be hoping that that chariot unit's going to run amok. Remember, when they run amok, they seem to be in stronger attack mode when they're in amok, strangely enough. But hopefully that unit had just routed. There you are. That chariot unit is just routed there without running amok. And you can see, as I say, Fesen's got his units into Testudo, which will probably prevent Barclayman from attacking with his chariots there. Okay, so you can see Scorpion King here has brought his Red Julii army over to the left flank here. Now what I think we were trying to do is stretch the defenders. The more we stretch our line, the more that they have got to be stretched as well to cover our troops moving. So that may well, that may well give us an inroad possibly into moving up the hill a little bit more if we can stretch them a bit. As I say, Scorpion King may well be thinking about bringing his Red Julii army around the flank of the enemy troops there. And oh my gosh, the Carthage Sacred Band Spearmen have just arrived. So oh my gosh, imagine that they're just going to brace and just be there to top up the defense on top of the hill. So I mean, looking at this position here, I mean, it's looking pretty impossible for us, isn't it? But we'll give it our best shot. And of course, pikes and spears, for Roman troops attacking uphill against pikes and spears, I mean, that's, how difficult is that? Veterans watching this, you know what I mean when I'm saying that. Right, you'll see Scorpion King is moving his Julii army even more around to the left flank. Once again, trying to stretch the enemy defenders there. Can you see how we're moving around there? Scorpion King, nice move there by Scorp. As I say, just trying to stretch and maybe weaken the defence in some places on top of the hill. Nice move. I like his battle formation as well. Nice battle formation there of Scorps. But you can see there, just look. I know I've said this a couple of times, but look at how well defended that hill is by all those enemy units there. Just kind of saying, come on then, if you think you're hard enough, attack kind of thing, isn't it? I mean, just look at that. But meanwhile over here you'll see that, remember that Royers, he spent loads of money on his Sacred Band cavalry there to fully upgrade them. Okay, so he's joined the two chariots of Pontus there in looking to attack. It looks to me that they're looking to attack the SBQR infantry of Fesen, as Fesen's trying to get up into the woods there to join his allies. There's that fully upgraded cavalry there of Royers. Watch his chariot unit. He may well go into the back of Scorpion King's Red Julii cavalry. There you are, look. Can you see that chariot going in there like a bang? Smashes it into the weakest part of any unit on Rome Total War, the rear, and it went straight into the back of those Julii cavalry units of Scorpion King. And it wouldn't surprise me if it caused a few casualties there of Scorpion King's cavalry. Right, so here's a fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry looking to charge into Fesen's SBQR cavalry, and that chariot hit as well. That Pontus chariot hit's going to go in there as well, look, and bang as it charges in there. Okay, but you can see that Scorpion King's Red Julii cavalry are coming downhill and charging into that chariot unit. Right, pause the game for a second here. So now you'll see that Royers fully upgraded Carthaginian cavalry is downhill, and Fesen and Scorpion King have actually got the downhill advantage onto those fully upgraded Carthaginian Sacred Band cavalry there. You'll see that Fesen now is safely running his infantry up into the woods to join us. Okay, Scorpion King here has moved his infantry round even more now, look, stretching the enemy defense as much as we can. And as I say, watch out for this audacious move by the Spartan A army of Titan's Beast there. Okay, and here you'll see, as I say, I'm moving my army forward here. I want to get into more pilot range of those enemy troops. Okay, so that's what I'm looking to do, move forward. You can see the armoured hoplites there of Beast moving forward into the enemy troops. But, I mean, it still looks really formidable, doesn't it? The enemy defence. I mean, it's just so formidable. How the heck can we ever kind of try and take this hill, looking at that massive defence that they've got there? Okay, and as I say, trying to fight pikes and spears uphill is, well, with Rome is kind of a big no-no, really, isn't it? So as I say, here you'll see Fesen's army is arriving, but over here, as I say, don't forget Royer spent loads of money on his Sacred Band cavalry, okay, to fully upgrade them, and therefore he hasn't spent a lot of money on his spearmen. So I'm just thinking here, if Fesen and Scorp can take out this fully upgraded cavalry here of Royers, that could be a big advantage for us, couldn't it? Because we know that his Sacred Band spearmen have not got a lot of upgrades on, because he spent the bulk of his money on his cavalry. There's Scorpion King's cavalry going in with a downhill charge bonus, like a bang, as he smashes in there. Oh my gosh, and here you can see that Fesen's cavalry have got a downhill advantage on these Carthage Sacred Band cavalry there. And as I say, you can see Scorpion King has charged downhill once again into those two units. So it'll be interesting, as I say, if Fesen and Scorpion King here can rout these fully upgraded Sacred Band cavalry. That would be a good thing for us, because as I say, we know that he spent the bulk of his money on his cavalry. He hasn't got very good upgrades on his infantry, and bang, a Scorpion King's Julii cavalry charge in there. Oh my gosh, well done to Fesen and Scorpion King. You can see I'm bringing my cavalry down as well here, just to help if needed to finish off those Sacred Band cavalry, but it looks like I'm not really needed there. Okay, so this is good for us. We've just routed the fully upgraded cavalry of Royers there. Okay, as we saw when we looked at the army builds, he's spent the bulk and majority of his money on his cavalry, which we've just routed. And remember, his infantry is just, if I remember correctly, gold shield, gold attack. In fact, some of his infantry have only got 5 upgrades on, if I remember correctly. Right, can you see here that Titan's Beast is now moving his A Spartan army around the flank of the enemy team? Okay, now what he's trying to do here, okay, just to give you a heads up on that, is to try and distract the enemy team and try and draw as many units over, because make no mistake, they know how powerful Spartan units are. So they may well put a lot of resources over there to try and counter the Spartans. Okay, there you are, you can see Titan's Beast. As I say, would you agree with me that he is now, he's kind of getting himself quite isolated there? But he is doing this for a tactical and strategic reason. He's trying to attract as many enemy troops onto his Spartans here, okay, so that they will, you know, not be at the front of the hill defending. Okay, so it'd be interesting to see where he's going to put that Spartan army. Okay, meanwhile here, I've moved my army forward again, once again putting pressure on the enemy ranks there, and you can see Scorpion King's infantry there as well. And make no mistake, if we get into pilot range, we will be throwing loads of pilers into the enemy troops. Okay, you'll see that Fesen's infantry is just arriving on the scene. Remember, they've been attacked by chariot units there, and his troops will probably be a bit tired when they get up onto the top of the hill. But as I say, just watch out for this audacious move by Titan's Beast with his A Spartan army here. Okay, just watch this for a really audacious tactical and strategic move. Now, can you see the Seleucid general is moving his troops back? He's moving his Silver Shield legionnaires back. You can see Pontus is bringing his pikes over as well. So there you are. You've got the Seleucid and most of the Pontus pikes here now facing the 10 Spartan units of Beast's army. Right, pause the game for a second here. Okay, so you can see there he's still downhill. Okay, you can see that Beast is still downhill, so he won't want to really fight those troops at this particular part of the battlefield. But imagine if he could take his Spartans round behind the enemy team. And now if we push forward here, can you see gradually the defense of the front of the hill is being weakened as the enemy troops are moving more of their the enemy generals are moving more of their troops over there to try and counter the movement of the Spartans. Okay, so they're all, I think the enemy are really worried about, as they know, you know, the power of the Spartans there, and 10 Spartans getting in behind them. I think they're kind of afeared about that. So as I say, you can see here that Titan's Beast is taking a Spartan army in behind the enemy team. Pause the game for a second here. So I just want to show you this as well. Can you see that the Carthaginian general Royer has now pulled all his Carthaginians out from the defense of the hill over towards the Spartans? Plus you've got the Pontus general has turned the bulk of his pikes to face the Spartans, and of course you've got all the Seleucid Silver Shield legionnaires over there as well. So the bulk of the enemy team are now facing those 10 Spartans. So this now area here has become incredibly weak. Can you see? And both Scorpion King and myself and the armored hoplites, if we kind of get a massive attack going there where we're combined our troops, maybe, just maybe, we could punch a hole through the enemy defense. Okay, so as I say, this audacious tactical and strategic move by a Beast is really doing what he wants to do, and that is to draw a lot of enemy troops over towards him there. You can see the Carthaginians there, and watch the Seleucid general there. He moves. Now I'd have thought he might have hit the Spartans while they were on the move, but no, he's not doing that. He's there, and you can see now that Beast has basically got his army almost on a par with the enemy troops. He just needs to move a little bit more up on the hill, and he's come all the way around there without being challenged. No one's attacked him. He's come all the way around there, and now he's going to get up onto a level par with the enemy troops. These Carthaginian troops here, they were chasing him but couldn't catch him. You got the Seleucid troops there, they didn't attack. But meanwhile here, as I say, and here you can see Fesen moving up here on the left flank with his army, backed up by Scorpion King's cavalry. Okay, and you can see here, can you see how far forward we moved? Okay, now I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a bit of a heads up on this. I'm thinking of a surge attack. Okay, just to give you a heads up on that, an old school, old fashioned surge attack is what I'm thinking at this stage of the battle. Okay, you can see my troops moving forward. Now here you can see that Titan's Beast has got to exactly where he wants to be, right on top of the hill. Okay, so his Spartans now, his 10 Spartans are right on top of the hill now, which is just what he wanted. Brought them all the way around there. They were not attacked at all, and he's now got up on top of the hill. Now, I'll tell you what do you think about that word audacious? The first time I've ever used it in an RTW battle there, but that's what that word just encapsulates what Beast has just done there. I think just audacious just really covers it. A tactical and strategic audacious move there. Great move there by Beast. Okay, so that move by Beast now may well now enable us to, as I say, punch a hole through the defense of the enemy team on the front of the hill. Right, can you see all the Pontus, or the majority of the Pontus pikes that were there are now moving over towards Beast. Okay, so they've lost a lot of their defensive line there, right where we are. And now what I'm thinking here is, as I say, I'm thinking of a surge attack there. And you can see that you've got the armoured hoplites there as well. Okay, now the Carthaginians have decided to hold here against Scorpion King and Fesen. Now Fesen may well get his infantry around the flank of the Carthaginians to get in behind them maybe, while Scorpion King pins and holds them. Okay, but here, as I say, the front of the hill defense has been greatly weakened by the enemy troops, who are now kind of almost obsessed with taking out Titan's Beast's Spartan A army. Okay, could you just look at the resources they're putting over towards those Spartans? Like they're, as I say, almost obsessed with taking the Spartans out, forgetting this defensive position here on at the front of the hill. Right now, as I say, I'll give you a heads up earlier, I'm thinking about a surge attack, but what I'm also thinking about here, okay, so I'm going to do an old-fashioned, old-school surge attack with my infantry, but what I'm going to do is get my cavalry about there, and I'm going to smash into the flank of the Scipii infantry as I surge attack. Okay, and you'll see the armoured hoplites are pressing on to the enemy Scipii troops as well. Okay, so watch out for that. But meanwhile, over here, the longer that Titan's Beast could hold, the better it is for us, because just look at the resources they're putting in there and taking over to try and take out Beast Spartan army there. He's being hit by cavalry. He's got the Seleucid Silver Shield Legionnaires. He's got the Pontus pikes approaching him as well. And he's got the Seleucid cataphracts there looking to smash into him as well. So, like I say, the longer he can hold, the better. You'll see the Carthaginian army looks like he's moving back up on top of the hill because he can see Fesen's going to flank him there. Okay, so that's a good tactical move by Royer, moving his Carthaginians back, because otherwise he was going to be flanked. But here, as I say, we may well be able to punch a hole through this defence that's in front of us here. Okay, you can see Scorpion King moving his Julii army forward there, his infantry moving forward. May well try and attack the Carthaginians when they're on the move. Right, watch my infantry. I'm now doing an old school, old-fashioned surge attack. Okay, and watch my cavalry in the woods. Watch the cavalry coming out. Going to smash into the flank of that Scipii army. And now I'm going to change the trajectory of my surge attack, and I'm going to go right. Can you see my infantry now is surging right just as the cavalry smashes into the flank of the Scipii troops? Okay, so just let me pause the game for a second there. Okay, so you can see that I've changed the trajectory of my infantry. You can see my cavalry coming out into the woods, smashing to the flank of the Scipii troops, while my trajectory old school surge attack is coming in from the other flank. So we've got those Scipii troops sandwiched there between cavalry and infantry. Right, but here comes the cataphracts here, or the Seleucid cataphracts. There with a downhill charge bonus, but you can see that Scorpion King's got some of his Julii infantry there as well. His infantry is going to take most of the hit from those Seleucid cataphracts, and bang, as they smash into Scorpion King's and my infantry there. Okay, you can see there that Scorpion King is counter-attacking with his cavalry. You can see the Scipii cavalry coming with a downhill charge bonus as well into my infantry, and bang, as they smash into my infantry there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, right, pause the game for a second here. You can see now that I think, including the Scipii general, all the Scipii infantry has now been routed. Okay, so all the Scipii infantry has now been routed, and it's just that Scipii cavalry with a downhill charge bonus that has just hit us. You can see the Seleucid cataphracts there, a lot of them have been routed. Now, Royer over here, if he's not careful, he could be completely surrounded by Scorpion King and Fesen's troops. Okay, so actually things are looking a little bit better for us now. And as I say, Titan's Beast here holding really well. He knows the longer he can hold, the more chance we've got of getting to him to relieve the pressure off of his troops. Okay, and I remember he said he would only do that with Spartans, what he's done, that audacious move, because he knows that Spartans can really hold for a long time. So, okay, so we need to take out that Scipii cavalry of Spitfyrs there, that blue Scipii cavalry. That needs to be taken out, unless he's going to pull that cavalry back, which he may well do there. But at the moment, he's really pushing those cavalry in. I've got my cavalry in there as well. You can see the Seleucid cataphracts there. He would have alt-attacked them. They'll be using their effective against armor maces there. I think that's the Scipii general's just been killed. Okay, so can you see that wall of Pontus pikes there? Okay, see those Pontus pikes there? That's kind of wall of pikes. Well, I'm not interested in attacking that. What I'm going to do is take my infantry and cavalry around the flank of those Pontus pikes to get in behind them to start trying to take a bit of pressure off the Spartans there. Okay, so my infantry and cavalry, I'm going to move around the flank of that Pontus pike wall there to charge into the enemy troops there. And as I say, try and take a bit of pressure off of the Spartans there. And you can see that Titan's Beast is still holding there against all that, all the resources that have been put in against him there. But as I say, you can see both the hoplites of Beast and my infantry and cavalry moving around the flank. There's the hoplites there, and my purple SBQR infantry all moving around the flank here to try and get to Beast before he is taken out. Okay, meanwhile over here you'll see that Royer's Carthaginians are basically in the process of being completely surrounded by the Julii troops of Scorpion King and the purple SBQR troops of Fesen there. Okay, so you can see there that Royer's not in a very good position there. Remember, he only had gold shield, gold attack on his spearmen because he spent most of his money on fully upgrading his cavalry. There's Fesen's SBQR cavalry. He may well charge them into the rear of those fighting troops there. But as I say, we're trying to get to Beast there. Those I'm not sure if Barclayman's sure of what he wants to do here. He could either send units over to help Royer, or he could send more units in there maybe to attack the Spartans. I just got the impression Barclayman's not quite sure on what he wants to do with his pikemen there. I don't know what you're thinking. Maybe you can see something that I can't, but he just strikes me as he's not quite sure on the best place to put his pikes there. Okay, you can see the Seleucid cataphracts charging into the rear of those Spartans there. You can see Fesen bringing his SBQR cavalry over, charging into those Seleucid troops there, and the Pontus pikes. You can see my cavalry charging, see my SBQR cavalry charging in there to smash into the flank of those Pontus pikes there, trying to take a bit of pressure off of Titan's Beast there. Okay, you see my troops. Oh, that's the Greek city general. Has just been taken out. I think that's Beast's general's just been taken out. But here you can see that Beast's hoplites and my SBQR troops there have managed to reach Beast's Spartan army there now. So we're taking a lot of pressure off of him now, and he's held really well. Meanwhile over here, as I say, you can see that Royer's infantry Sacred Band are completely surrounded now by Fesen and Scorpion King's army. Okay, but here, as I say, we've managed to reach Beast there, so we've taken a lot of pressure, and he can now turn all his Spartans to face the threat coming in on his right flank there. You can see there's still some cataphracts there, Seleucid cataphracts around the battlefield. And there's a chariot unit charging, like a bang, charging into Fesen's infantry there. And a Scipii cavalry unit of Spitfyrs charging in as well, like a bang. But as I say, you can see Royer's infantry there being surrounded. But here these Pontus pikes, as I say, I'm not sure Barclayman knows, he's not sure on where to position his pikes. Should he go and help his Carthage ally there? He looks like he can send a couple of units over there, or should he help his allies here? That's the Carthage general's just been taken out, so I'm thinking that all that Carthage army. Oh, look at those Seleucid cataphracts going into the back of Beast's Spartans there. That was a big hit by those Seleucid cataphracts. There's another battle damaged unit going in as well, going to smash into the rear as well. Get ready for this, and bang! Right, can you see my SBQR cavalry, or what's left of them? I'm going to charge them into those Seleucid cataphracts, and bang! As my cavalry smash into those cataphracts as well there. Oh my gosh, so I'll be alt attacking using the heavy sword there against their effective against armor. Mace is there. Oh my gosh. I think we took out the Seleucid cavalry there from what I can see. And as I say, you can see the red cloaked Spartans of Beast there. But over here, well done to Fesen and Scorpion King. They have now taken out all the Carthaginians there. All the Carthaginian army has been taken out. You can see Barclayman has now decided to send his pikes over to try and hold Fesen and Scorpion King there with his Pontus pikes. Okay, so he's trying to hold them up there. But meanwhile, over here, you can see my purple SBQR infantry and the Spartans and the armoured hoplites fighting the Seleucids and some Pontus pikemen that are over here as well. Okay, you can see I'm going to charge my cavalry in there. Watch the cavalry impact there. Bang! As they charge into the tired, battle-depleted enemy troops, routing a couple of Seleucid units on impact there. So that's good news for us. I remember the Seleucid general. Can you see the square banner of the Seleucid general? I remember it seemed to take us ages to kill that general. He just seemed to just almost be unkillable. I remember, because I think both Beast and myself here were trying to kill that Seleucid general, obviously trying to take the general morale bonus away from the enemy team there. But he just seemed to be really difficult to kill. You can see I charging what's left of my cavalry into that Pontus pike unit there, just trying to help my allies out. You can see Scorpion King here bringing some of his infantry forward there to charge maybe into the back of the fighting enemy troops there. But there was a cavalry unit of Spitfyrs charging in like a bang as he charged in there. But as I say, if you notice the square banner of the Seleucid general there, we were charging. I think both Beast and myself were really concentrating on that general. Well, we know Beast's general was already killed anyway, and that unit's just routed. I think with 2 men in, if I remember correctly. There you are. Just got two men left. That's all he's got left in the general unit there. But his general was already killed. But as I say, this Seleucid general there, if I remember correctly, just seemed to kind of, I think both Beast and myself were trying to kill him, but he just didn't seem to want to die. He's just holding there. But over here you can see that those Pontus pikes now, Scorpion King's got some units in behind the pikes, so those pike units are going to probably fail soon. But as I say, the Seleucid general there and this Pontus pike unit there was quite difficult to kill as well here. So, let's say, just trying to kill that these few enemy units that are left. There you are, Seleucid general's just routed there, so that's good news for us. Takes the general morale bonus away. Just that one Seleucid unit left, I think now. That's the Seleucid general just been killed, but I think that's the last enemy unit left. There you are, and that looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle. Oh my gosh. When you saw the enemy disposition on top of the hill and the defensive position, could you believe that we would have ever won this? Right, I've got 5 extremely battle damaged units left. I just wanted to show you how tough this battle was. 5 extremely battle damaged. If I remember correctly, I think I've got, 2 men. Just 2 men left in that unit, and get ready for this, and 1 man left in that unit. And that just goes to show how tough this battle was. And you can see that Beast has just got 4 units left. That's all he's got left out of his entire 20 unit army. Remember, he had 20 units there, so that's all that we've got left between us. Oh my gosh, you can see Scorp still got quite a few troops left there, but they are battle damaged units. And if we go all the way down here, quite a spread out battlefield, of course. This is where Royer's fully upgraded cavalry and I think the chariots, a couple of chariots there of Pontus were fighting Fesen and Scorpion King's cavalry there, and they managed to take them out. Here, do you remember, that's that chariot unit went into the back of Scorpion King's cavalry there. As we move further on up the hill, of course, this was the area that we started fighting here, skirmishing with the enemy troops, moving up the hill there, trying to move up the hill. I think that's that was the first contact area, if you like, between us and them. Over here you can see a tough battle, and over here this is where the Carthaginians were taken out. That's where all of Royer's Sacred Band spearmen were taken out there by Fesen and Scorpion King completely surrounded him. And over here you can see, oh my gosh, just look, you can see how intense the fighting was just by the piles of dead. And as we move across here, there's longer grass here, so you can see the dead just lying in the long grass there. And especially this area here, look how intense the fighting was here. I think this is the area where Beast was trying to hold for as long as he could until we could get over to relieve kind of the siege there. So who would have believed he bought his A army all the way around the flank there. As I say, I know I've used the word quite a lot, but it's the first time I've used it in 1017 battles. Such an audacious tactical and strategic move from Titan's Beast, which I think was pivotal and decisive to the battle there. and I think that's basically all the enemy units gone. I think at this stage of the battle we might just go up to triple speed maybe now, just to hurry things up a little bit, because as I say, we've managed to go on to win the battle there. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought everybody played really well, and as you can see, it was a close victory. Okay, a close victory there, and as I say, it's very rare for us to get a close victory, so when we do get one, I feel almost compelled to show it, really, because it is so rare. And as I say, for this particular battle on the hill, I mean, oh my gosh, it was close. Highest kills in the game unusually goes to Barclayman with his Pontus army in the losing team. Unusual to have the highest kills, and over 2,000 kills as well in the losing team. So well done to Barclayman there with his faction of choice, Pontus. Well done to Royer, he got over 1,000 kills. Well done to him. Well done to Spitfyr. Now he'll be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but I thought he held as long as he could on the hill. And well done to Greek Leonidas there, who called himself Bill. Got some good kills with his Seleucid army. Really well played, guys. My kills, yeah, I'm pleased with those kills. I was quite surprised that I got that many kills. I think it's about the third highest in the game, so I'm pleased with that. Well done to Fesen. He got less than 1,000 kills, but he's not far off 1,000 kills, so he did well. As I say, well done to Beast there. Got some really good kills there with his 20-unit Greek cities army. And well done to Scorpion King. Got some great kills there as well. And if you notice, he's got around unusual 500 men still remaining there. Unusual, that. Now, what about faction advantage? Okay, so we had Rome, Greek cities in Rome, but we were attacking up the hill, weren't we? Up a steep hill there. So I don't know whether that would neutralise any advantage there. They had Carthage, Pontus, Rome and Seleucid, and they did hold the hill, didn't they? So do you think there's any advantage there for either team, really, or not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, I thought, epic and classic battle. I mean, it's so rare to win on this map, and I think great tactics and strategies here by our team in a great teamwork display there. The Spartan Commander saying bye for now. See you soon.